Uh, a worldwide war was declared. We weren't aware of it because our media didn't really describe it adequately. Here, the president of Jordan is describing it.
We are facing a third world war against humanity, and this is what brings us all together.
Senator Murphy, Christopher Murphy from Connecticut, describes it as a martial law.
This resolution is a total rewrite of the War Powers Clause of the United States Constitution. Let's be clear about that. It is essentially a declaration of international martial law, a sweeping transfer of military power to the president that will allow him or her to send U.S. troops almost anywhere in the world for almost any reason with absolutely no limitations.
It's a U.S. senator. Here, in an interview on 60 Minutes, President Obama responds to the allegations that the United States is actually funding the other side while we fight ISIS. So funding ISIS while we fight it.
The Russians are conducting military operations in the Middle East for the first time since World War II. Bombing the people that we are supporting.
It's a small number.
Steve, let me just say this.
It's an embarrassment.
So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces.
So while we're fighting ISIS, the president says we're also funding them.
Was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces.
So they're speeding up training of ISIL forces. Here, Senator Angus King reacts to the expansion of war powers for the president in a Senate hearing.
My question is, how do you possibly square this with the requirement that of the Constitution that the Congress has the power to declare war? This is one of the most fundamental divisions in our constitutional scheme, that the Congress has the power to declare war. The president is the commander-in-chief and prosecutes the war. But you're reading this AUMF in such a way as to apply clearly outside of what it says.
So here he's describing...
Gentlemen, I've only been here 5 months, but this is the most astounding and most astoundingly disturbing hearing that I've been to since I've been here. You guys have essentially rewritten the Constitution here today. The Constitution, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11, clearly says that the Congress has the power to declare war. This authorization to AUMF is very limited. And you keep using the term associated forces. You use it 13 times in your statement. That is not in the AUMF. And you said at one point, it suits us very well. I assume it does suit you very well because you're reading it to cover everything and anything. And then you said at another point, so even if the AUMF doesn't apply, the general law of war applies. And we can take these actions. So
it's a total expansion of unlimited war. Here, former Director of Intelligence Michael Flynn describes it's incoherent. He describes this expansion, or what the policy from the White House on this war has been.
I think the administration. The administration turned a blind eye to your analysis.
I don't know if they turned a blind eye. I think it was a decision. I think it was a willful decision.
A willful decision to go support an insurgency that had Salafist, Al Qaeda, and
a
Muslim
willful
Brotherhood.
decision to do what they're doing, which you have to really ask the president, what is it that he actually is doing with the policy that is in place, because it is very, very confusing. I'm sitting here today, Maddie, and I can't tell you exactly what that is.
So this has become just an unlimited war without rhyme or reason.
The additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces.
So it's the funding of our enemy while fighting our enemy. We can move here to another Michael Flynn interview where he describes, now that it's expanded to fight ISIL, ISIL can be anywhere, including within the quote-unquote refugees who are spread across Europe and the United States. Here he describes their infiltration into the United States and Europe.
We've had 10 years. We had 10 years prior of guys and men and women on the battlefield that were watching and fighting these guys.
He's talking about the Islamic radical forces, which are in various different groups.
I mean, they didn't go away. They actually expanded. They expanded, in some cases, doubling in size and capacity and numbers of groups and things like that, not just in Syria and Iraq and in places like Yemen, but all throughout North Africa. We now see this incursion of migrants into Europe.
He's describing their inclusion within the migrants into Europe.
And we know, again, from our own FBI director's comments, we have the problem right here in the United States.
So according to the FBI, these terrorists are coming in with the migrants into the United States and Europe. Here, Putin describes the funding of ISIS. It's in Russian. I'll read the subtitles. I've said this before. Another threat that President Obama mentioned was ISIS. Well, who on earth is funding them? Who armed the Syrians that were fighting with Assad? Who created the necessary political, informational climate that facilitated this situation? Who pushed for the delivery of arms? Do you really not understand as to who is fighting in Syria? They are mercenaries mostly. Do you understand they are paid money? He's describing flows of money. Here, General Dempsey describes the United States as funding, or no, the Arab countries as being funders of ISIS.
In his response there,
I know major Arab allies who fund them.
This is ISIL,
I know major Arab allies who fund them.
the ally that embraces ISIL.
I know major Arab allies who fund them.
So he's describing Saudi Arabia, Turkey. Here, the President of the United States receives a medal from the Sheikh of...
That's something else. Yeah, thank you.
So the funding of ISIS is our ally is funding our enemy. It's difficult to understand this. So
Do you
here...
know any major Arab ally that embraces ISIL?
I know major Arab allies who fund them.
So here is what we're doing. We're expanding a war. Here you see the same situation here. The Sheikh of Saudi Arabia is presenting to a bowing prime minister of the United Kingdom a ribbon. That's exactly what our own president did. You see how they bow to the Sheikh who's funding our supposed enemy. Here's the funding comment again.
We're speeding up training of ISIL forces, speeding up training of ISIL forces.
So that funding is here described. Now, as we fund them...
This resolution is a total rewrite of the War Powers Clause of the United States Constitution. Let's be clear about that. It is essentially a declaration of international martial law, a sweeping transfer of military power to the president that will allow him or her to send U.S. troops almost anywhere in the world for almost any reason with absolutely no limitations.
That's the new situation. An unlimited World War III declared by the president of Jordan and supported by President Obama, John Cameron. And as we fight ISIL, our allies are funding them, if not our own institutions. And here we see President Obama enjoying his Nobel Peace Prize.